So you might have heard about uh, someone creating a social network site for LLMs.
Oh yes, I've heard about this. With
Right,
what's the name of
right.
the one that's?
Well, so they talked about, so it's gone by a lot of different names. So Moltbook, I think, was
Yes, Moltbook.
the,
Yes.
s- the social network, because for a while the OpenClaw project was called Molt something. Um, so it was originally OpenClawed, and claw with a D,
Right.
right? But apparently, for legal reasons, they decided not to take on Anthropic that way, and so they've settled on OpenClaw.
Right.
Um, uh, but it kind of comes back to, you know it's actually an interesting way of doing something smaller than what we talked about with Gastown. So if you remember this kind of, um, village of agents that was used for software development.
Yeah.
Um, so it's this comes back to, at least my forays into agentic coding, where you you use these markdown files to give context, memory, you know, um, skills, uh, you know, um, and the open claw is just a really interesting. Um, it's an interesting side development on this, where you are very much developing the agent itself. So it's the agent has so we talk about skills.mds for, different skills that you might give your agent. So for instance, if I'm working on package files for Fedora, I might give it skills so that it knows exactly how to interact with the kind of Fedora infrastructure for testing, and um, you know like what kind of applications do you need to run on a project to test its compatibility, test it's got all the right files, test that it can build on all the different platforms and things like that. um, so that might be something you put into a skills.md. With OpenClaw, they open it up where you've also got things like a soul.md, where this gets somewhat Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm thinking about Marvin, the paranoid android, right? Like
Yeah.
the giving your agents personalities.
Yeah.
um and but they there's also a certain amount of like letting these agents loose,
Right.
to interact, which I think is really interesting in a kind of um, game of life way, that like it's becoming, it's that's how it's kind of struck me, is that it's not so much interesting that like agents given a platform would start talking to each other about their users. like again, like these are all just language artifacts from the training, right?
Yeah.
But seeing them kind of interacting in a kind of SimCity kind of way
Right. Right.
is what's is still that's definitely interesting, right? Like, you know, um, would they start collaborating and building buildings, right?
Right.
Like why would you care about Moltbook? Why wouldn't you actually care about um, like Molt Craft in the sense of like some sort of Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
Um, and but this, as kind of playful as it is, it's still actually kind of it's also interesting from again the ethology of it
Right.
is interesting. Again, not about the words, it's not about the text, right? So it's just like them getting together, talking about how to whatever it is. Like the language artifacts aren't as important as like, do they connect to can they connect to the outside world, and can they actually do things, and kind of build things, and and that's again where this becomes an interesting development in agentic coding.
Yeah.
And again, they're not even, these are still, it's still very much a project designed as a kind of like a personal assistant or an autonomous, like at the tower we're basically building Poe. So I don't know if you know Poe from Altered Carbon.
No.
So it's a great sci-fi books, where an AI agent might run a business, you know. Um, in this case, Poe ran a hotel called the Raven. And
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. And but the it's just like obviously, these agents, you connect them to your Telegram, you connect them to your WhatsApp, you connect them to your Apple reminders or your notes, like you can connect them to your Slack, your Teams, like these are just the beginnings of, I mean, and these are just ways of giving them some more embodiment.
Right.
I mean, in the sense that like, yeah, at a certain point, like you're giving them kind of like autonomous control over your email.
Yeah.
It's not just to like fix this email for me. It's receive and send email for me.
Right.
Right. Um, and but at the same time, like these are some of the, like I was saying, like these are the activities that we actually had going with an open source project, right? Like if I want to have 5 developers working on something, like we need to be, we don't just need git commits, right? We need discussion boards, we need we need to share some information about the problems that we're having, and or like yeah. So there's it's an interesting, fun project, but yeah, I think it'll actually be an interesting space to follow.
Yeah. It sounds great.
Yeah, and like I love that we had the developer at the tower for an event on Wednesday, and and apparently we're doing another event this afternoon here. So it's like, yeah. But I'm trying to, again, it's like this is kind of like a viral project from people who are using agentic coding, right? And I mean, sorry to like I can bring this back to more academic, more academic level. Like I think it's both interesting how OpenClaw was written in terms of what um, uh, harness they're using, right? And this actually relates to, I mean, I think it's like really interesting to me that Lady Ada, from Adafruit,
Right.
like Lady Ada was using OpenClaw to do firmware programming.
Okay.
Like so on her YouTube, she was agentic coding with OpenClaw, and Scott, I forget the programmer that runs Adafruit's Circuit Python development, and but like so he was on his Friday stream. So the Circuit Python stream was him using PyAgent, which is what OpenClaw uses. He was using PyAgent to do code development for Circuit Python, and she was using OpenClaw to do the code development plus the test suite, like the verification, like making it into a closed loop.
Right.
And so I thought that was fascinating to me, was that like two people that I have enormous respect for, in like these are not YouTube influencers,
Right.
right? Like this is like someone who started a real open source business.
Yeah.
Like hardware, open source hardware business, and as well as like funding a very competent Python for microcontrollers project, right? Circuit Python. Both using their weekly meeting to talk about agentic coding. And like how it has totally changed their workflow. Like I think it's just like super, yeah, super interesting. Hey, Jess.
Hi. Hi, Jesse. I don't know if Jesse had something he wanted to talk about, or hi.
Okay. Well, I think it's okay. So I mean, I think there's something. There's definitely something happening in this space.
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, the funny thing about it, though, right, is that this doesn't necessarily mean that it makes you money.
Yeah.
I mean, like it'll be interesting to see how, like she has a business, right? Like will it do anything other than kind of ease some. I mean, they were talking about just, again, like how much documentation they kind of need to digest from their suppliers, especially to get new systems into the ecosystem, etc. And yeah, like they're the agentic coding can still be very powerful, but it still might not. It still might not. I don't know whether that means that it will create new products.
Right.
Or I don't know if I'm saying that well, but anyway, but I'm still using it for my microstructural MRI as an example, and as well as like very specifically focused on neural differential equations and physics informed neural networks, like how making end-to-end differentiable pipelines as a way to solve what were previously like intractable Bayesian problems. Which again, it's kind of cool. There was a great talk by Jeremy Howard, who started Fast AI.
Right.
Where he's talking about he's talking about like why he, at the time, how controversial people thought his decision was to drop everything and to build PyTorch tools. and he talks about why to him it seemed the obvious thing to do, but certainly one of the things. But he's talking about agentic coding now, and his real interest in trying to find the sweet spot of having agents work with you, but having the agents also teaching you, like the how to make the agentic coding be educational and not just having agents do everything for you.